it's cold when your socks are frozen solid. Good morning, everybody. It's day 23, and it's really cold. Everything was wet last night. Woke up to everything frozen. Just couldn't get warm this morning. Sat by a fire for probably 2 or 3 hours. Cried pretty much all morning. It's warming up a little bit now. It's supposed to get like into the low 40s today. It's like 11:30 now, and I'm just now getting going. The trail is still muddy. My shoes are like so cold and frozen. So not a good morning. And the worst part of all of it is that it's supposed to get back into the 20s tonight, and with the wind chill they said it's gonna be like 18 degrees. I just can't do with the cold. The original plan was to do 9 miles to Dairy Knob Shelter, but I think we may just try to do 3.5 to the next shelter, which is the Spence shelter, because I just don't know. I just don't know that I have 9 miles in me. So, anyways, I'm gonna try to dry my tears and get moving and get warmed up. So we'll see. Lots of ice on trail this morning. Well, this afternoon now. Alright, I thought I would hop on again and update, since it's kind of a mess when I updated the first time. It's day 23. And I slept in a shelter last night because it was going to be cold, and we're in the Smokies. So they encourage shelter sleeping anyways. And honestly, I slept pretty good. Considering the fact that it got down into the 20s, I slept pretty good. I'm not going to say I slept great, but good enough. And I woke up feeling pretty good too. And I was very diligent about making sure that my clothes were dry, and I had a dry pair of socks to put on this morning. And I did. And everything was all good until I got out of my sleeping quilt and went to put on my shoes. My shoes are just frozen solid because it rained all day yesterday, and then it froze last night. And just here to say that even if you have dry socks, if your shoes are wet and frozen, it's not going to make a difference. So, put on my shoes, and my feet were just so cold. I couldn't get them to warm up. And I'm the type of person, like, if my feet are cold, my whole body is cold. And I was just miserable. Tried to make some hot cocoa to try to warm me up. And again, it was just my feet that were the issue. And man, like, just sitting in the shelter, drinking my hot cocoa, the waterworks started, and they just didn't stop. And someone whipped up a fire, but everything was wet because it was raining yesterday. And so the fire wasn't really putting off a lot of heat. But I sat by the fire for like 2 hours or so, trying to warm up, trying to warm my feet up. And honestly considered taking a 0 at the shelter, but kind of on a time crunch because we're in the Smokies. So we're on our way to the Spence shelter, which is just about 3.5 miles. Didn't get started hiking until after 11 today. So once we get there, we're going to try to dry out all of our stuff. Like my rain fly is still soaked from 2 nights ago. And so it's supposed to drop back into the 20s tonight. So I need to, if I'm planning on sleeping in my tent, I need to make sure my rain fly is dry before that. So we're going to try to get to the shelter, dry everything out. If we're feeling up to it, there's another shelter that's probably just over 5 miles past this one that we could go to. My only hesitation is that we've had a lot of people from our shelter and previous shelters pass us that said that they're going there. So we just know there's going to be a lot of people there. So, meaning that there might not be shelter space and limited tenting options. And again, it's supposed to be back in the 20s tonight. So they actually said with the wind chill, it's going to feel like 18. So I really want to have optimal sleeping conditions since it's going to be so cold. But we'll just see. I'm definitely feeling better after getting out here and hiking and just warming up. Yeah, my feet are just, they're warming up now, but it was just like unbearable. It was really bad. And again, no phone service, so it's not really like you can just call up friends or family and have kind of like a morale boost, you know? So it's just tough. But on the upside, the next several days after tonight are supposed to be warm and beautiful. So if I can just make it through tonight and in the morning, I think I'll be okay. So, and really, I think if I can get everything like thawed out and not wet so that it doesn't freeze again tonight, I think I should be okay for in the morning, but we'll see. Just doing the best I can do right now. But yeah, apologies for the waterworks, but it'd be like that sometimes. So yeah. Anyways, check back with you guys later. Frozen, crusty, nasty, muddy, gross trail. Wow, a privy with a door? This is luxury, folks. Alright, we made it our 3 miles to the shelter and we're just gonna call it a night here. They already got a fire going. You can kind of see the smoke coming out, so whatever. It's just a short day. Try not to beat myself up about it, but it's fine. I think our tentative plan is 12 miles tomorrow and 12 miles the next day into Newfound Gap, and then get off there and go into Gatlinburg for the night. So hopefully the weather is better tomorrow and we won't be quite as miserable in the morning, but we'll see. Yeah, so let me show you guys around. So first things first, hanging up the bear line and drying out rainfly and my Tyvek. And then Here's the bear cables here. Obviously there's no food bags hanging on them yet, but they're not far from the shelter. And then this is the Spence field shelter. I can show you. There's also some stuff hanging on the other side.
The Century did right things.
So fire.
Sit them right in there.
Go watch your shoestring.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come here, buddy.
We're not gonna do
Shelter
anything,
birdie.
I'll become friends with it.
Picking up scraps before the bear gets to it.
Yeah, like little things like checking the knots in the hammocks. Like,
Oh,
I had two guys, they've never been in a hammock before.
Dinner tonight, spam and ramen. First time trying spam, we'll see. Delicious. End of day 23, and I'll say it started out as a really, really bad day. Just painfully cold and just not in good spirits. But there was another group that also only did 3 miles today, and they were at the shelter with us last night, and then the shelter with us all day today, and we basically just hung around and chatted and hung out all day, and they were really cool. So it ended up being a pretty good afternoon, considering the fact that I was crying my eyes out this morning. So overall, not too terrible of a day. I think I mentioned earlier, our plan is to do 12 miles tomorrow and then 12 miles the next day into Newfound Gap, and then hopping off and going over to Gatlinburg. So yeah, I'm kind of scared about the temperatures tonight. I'm sleeping in the shelter again. It's supposed to get down to like 28, I think, tonight, but all of our stuff is dry now. So hopefully in the morning when we go to put on all of our clothes and shoes and everything's gonna be dry. So hoping tomorrow morning will be better, but we'll see. Stay tuned to find out.